already too.
We're live, guys.
Right, cool. Can we change the stuff?
Yeah, we sure can.
Yeah, cool. Right.
We're live now, and right now we have no one who's actually came on at the second. But there they did. Somebody just came on.
That's good, man.
Things, all of our friends will be on. So let's look at the comments. Barbara Wallace says, "Hello, guys." Hello, Barbara. How's it going, lady? So we're hanging on the Holler Live with UK-based Irish musician and producer Dar Ra.
Hi, how you doing? You all good?
You guys good?
I hope so. I hope you're going to be better by the time we get through this interview and we've raised some spirits in the house. You know what I'm saying? That's what we want to do.
Hello.
I want to raise some spirits over there. Get some happy vibes going, right?
Another Irish person.
Yeah.
How awesome.
Yes.
I hope. Okay, so let me explain why I've got an English accent. So I was brought up in England. I was born in Dublin, and we came over in the height of the Troubles. And I was brought up in London and Brighton. And but my heart is Celtic. I'm Irish, through and through. And wherever I go, I'm always basically, supporting anything that is Irish, and that's the story. So. Yeah, I don't have a drop of English blood in me. My mum was a mixture. She was German, Dutch, and Scottish, and my dad was Irish, but again educated over in England. Do you know what I'm saying? So that was the issue for him, because his father came over to his father was a doctor. He was actually a bacteriologist, and he came over and set up a practice in a place called Harley Street, which is like right in the middle of London. It's like where everybody kind of goes. If they've got a doctor, all the celebrities go to Harley Street, right? So they had a practice there. But he was a bacteriologist, and he actually came up with a flu vaccine during the Second World War, and was given a really high honour of being the freeman of the City of London, which is not bad for an Irishman to be able to, so you know what I mean? It means I now can take my sheep across London Bridge and no one can stop me, man, because I've got the freedom of the City of London. So there you go. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's interesting that we're talking about vaccines, and my grandfather actually came up with a vaccine and then obviously passed it on to one of the Big Pharma took it and did whatever they did with it. So there's a bit of medical history in the family. My mum was a nurse, fabulous woman, gave her life to the National Health Service. I don't know how what they would have made with it, but they probably would have sort of come up with some sort of vaccine, I would have thought. Do you know what I mean? But all natural, mate, all natural.
I'd like to say,
what do you guys think about vaccines? Where are you at? Are you into the vaccine side of things? No, not going to take it.
We just had this talk a couple days ago. We're like, no.
We're trying to figure out how we even feel about it right now.
Yeah.
That's me. Like, how do I feel about this? Like, do I just be like, hey, just give it to me? I'll do it for the greater good of my fellow man. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm craving crap, but
you want to do that, but you don't really know what's in there. That's the problem.
No flu shot ever.
No. Well, I mean, look. In hindsight, we kind of know. I mean, I don't want to get into a big anti-vax thing going on here, but we kind of know that, what you're doing there is causing an issue. You're bypassing your immune system. You're putting stuff straight into your body, which is a virus. Your body doesn't really have a chance to deal with it because when it comes in naturally, your body has a chance. Your immune system deals with enzymes in your nose and your throat, so your body has a chance to actually deal with it naturally. When you actually inject yourself with a virus, it bypasses the whole immune system, goes straight into your bloodstream, and then your body then goes into a panic. And there, I've been listening to a lot of virologists, and they was one was particularly saying that the reason a lot of kind of older people kind of have suffered so much is that they've been taking these flu shots, and it's absolutely wiped their immune system out. So when something different comes along, it's their bodies can't deal with it. So it's been we've learned a lot, right? I bet we've all learned a lot about kind of, viruses and vaccines and immune systems. We probably know words that we never thought we'd ever known before, but here we are, all kind of like semi-pro now, aren't we?
Yeah.
He's talking about virology, and I've got no idea. I'm just a musician, mate. You know what I mean? But no, I mean, I'm sad in some ways. Do you know what I mean? That people will queue up and get it, and so they can go out and play again.
Right.
But hey ho, you know what? It's everyone's free to do what they got to do, and if that's the way you've got to get through this crisis, and it makes you feel better that you've whacked that stuff in your body, when crack on, You've got my blessing. Do your thing. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm with you girls. I'm not. I wouldn't. I don't know. They'll probably come find us now, mandatory sort of inject us. But I wouldn't be game on to sort of put anything weird in my body. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. I think that the stages of what we've been through is something that's going to live with us forever. And there's some good to come through it. I think people will become more resourceful, less wasteful, thinking kind of about maybe thinking about treading slightly lighter on the planet, and we've enjoyed I've enjoyed sort of like we live out in the country, you know what I mean, and I've enjoyed a bit more quiet in some ways, you know what I'm saying, and less cars and less craziness, and but
Yeah, now you hear noise, like you hear a plane go by or something, it's very rare, but when you hear it, you really notice it, where it used to be kind of our background noise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. I've been enjoying like reconnecting with home, and I have way more flower beds than I used to. I have awesome. I built a little hot house out of old windows, and so I have seeds happening out there, and all kinds of veggies coming up, and herbs, and yeah, I can see I definitely appreciate that side of what's happened, because I commute 4.5 hours a day typically.
Yeah,
So
right.
so this has been like a real treat to kind of get to stay home.
Yeah.
In one way,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think things will reshift. I think sort of like the digital economy will start coming through a lot more, and people will be thinking about how can they operate from not having to do that kind of thing anymore, and being more like I've talked to people, for instance, who work in like the building game, and or deliveries and stuff, or removal kind of stuff, and they don't want to, they're happy to just have enough money now to kind of do what they got to do, and then having more free time. Do you know what I'm saying? So and actually I think a lot of people who maybe didn't think like that before are now thinking actually about it's the values, their value systems have sort of changed, which is actually, I mean, for a long period of time I was just thinking like, how can this planet sustain such a battering every single day, day in, day out? We're mining it, we're shelling it, we're doing, we've got buildings going up like crazy. If there's a bit of space that they're building on it, England will turn into a floating bit of concrete at some point because they're going so crazy. Even where we live, we moved out of London to get away from the craziness and moved into a situation, and now London's following us, and the building over here is just insane. So yeah, just thinking, how can we do that? How can we make this sustainable? And it's so yeah, for a long period of time I just felt I don't think the planet can take it. I really don't. And we've watched the weather systems just going crazy for the last few years. We've been having like the most hardcore winters, like with wind and rain, like even just this last kind of like 4 months, before this virus thing kicked in, we were getting like battered by windstorms, like literally every weekend was just boom, boom, boom. I'm talking like you just felt, is the roof going to come off? Do you know what I mean? Like it was crazy, really crazy. And so that's not normal. Do you know what I'm saying? That wasn't the world I grew up in. And so something's changed, and something has to basically, I think the word is reset.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with
that. I live right by the bay, and you can tell the water looks so much cleaner and clear. And we have turtles, and you can see little otters that you normally can't see. There's just been really cool stuff happening as far as just looking at the bay.
And it's blue. I mean, it's blue. The water wasn't blue. It was dirty, brownish, weird, and now you look out and you see blue again.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually see through to the bottom.
Right.
That's something I haven't experienced here since I've lived here, which has been since 2016. So I was like, is this really happening right now?
I know.
The miracles are incredible. I mean, there's a place called Brighton Beach, which is not far from one. I grew up down there, but they had seals on the beach the other day, which is like, amazing. I mean, do you know what I'm saying? We will, I don't know. Somebody's saying the Earth will take care of the damage we've done. Yeah, when we stop doing any damage to it, I think maybe is the case there. But we've got to stop doing the damage and then allow the planet to kind of like rejig itself. I mean, of course it will. The world will not miss us when the last human being turns the light out. You know what I mean? You can see. I mean, this is the trip, right? You can see how much nature loves human beings not being about, because they're all coming out and going, "It's time to party." Hanging out, kind of in the sun.
Mother Nature stretching.
Seals on the beach, dolphins in Venice. They're all just partying and going, "Great, yeah, this is fantastic. We've been waiting for this for ages." So, the world is the nature will not miss human beings. It's just a shame that there's a mentality that thinks that we can just just keep on taking and giving nothing back. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's just, I don't understand. Like an animal will kill to survive, but it doesn't kind of like overkill to the point where there's nothing left. You know what I mean? It just takes what it needs. Whereas a human being, like you saw it with the toilet paper. A human being can't just go and buy toilet paper. They've got to have every last little bit of toilet paper. And
that's there too.
I'm seeing people queuing outside supermarkets. It's like, why? I've never queued to, even in lockdown, I'm never going to queue to get in a shop. Never, not in a million years. I will do something else, man. Do you know what I mean? Or I'll go to another. Like we drove down to Brighton today, actually, and we got down there, and outside there's a supermarket called the Co-op, and then there's another one about a stone's throw away, which is a bigger supermarket called Lidl's, right? Massive supermarket, and I see like 10 people queuing outside the small one that's not open yet, when the big one is open, and I'm like going, where's your head at? Do you know what I'm saying? Why would you do that? It's just, I don't know. People just sort of, they fascinate me. They fascinate me. It's really sort of small kind of, it's just small box like thinking, and the more we have that, and the more most people are thinking sort of like just it's primitive brain stuff. It's right primitive, stuck in the primitive brain. Just I've got to get that last bit of whatever before you get it, so I can sit there and they're buying all this food that's probably chemmed up to the max, and then the only reason, because I see someone else in the supermarket the other day, they've got all this chem food, right? All this sort of like processed stuff going to trolleys, massive load of chips and processed meats and this, that, and the other. And then on the back of it was just like this load of toilet paper, and I thought, well, you're going to need that much toilet paper for the crap you're eating. You know what I'm saying? I'm just see this, right? Scratching my head. That's all I do these days. I just keep scratching my head going, I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. Am I from a different planet? I must have come from a different world, because I don't really get, I never have got most human beings thinking. I just never have. I've never got, the thought that you would basically sort of want to trash your environment. Like, it's just like, like for instance, we're coming back. It's a beautiful, where we come back into, It's a really nice countryside. It's all, you know, it's just beautiful, man. It's like farms and this, that, and the other. And I got out for a second to do something, and I looked down into this bank, and someone has just thrown all these plastic bags full of rubbish into this ditch where, you know, and I just thought,
that pisses me off more than anything.
why would you do that? Why would you do that? But I get really angry about it. Do you know what I mean? I get really angry about it. Where, you know, I just do, man, and it sort of, you know, I just think, you know, it's like them going into their front room and taking a giant dump on their brand new carpet.
Right?
Donna Sue. That's Donna Sue how I feel about people throwing things in my yard.
Oh gosh, I have to tell you, in my rose garden, there's actually a glove, a plastic glove. And I haven't taken a picture of it. I need to go get it, but I've been wanting to take a picture of it and say, MJ. Because MJ wanted to punch people in the throat. She did a whole post on Facebook. If I find out who you are, I'm going to punch you in the face. Or no, the neck. I'm going to neck.
Somebody come and knock on the door and say, please, can I have my glove back?
My daughter had to learn a really hard lesson when she was, I don't know, like 14 or 15. We were driving down the road. She had girlfriends in the back, and she pitched something out of the car, which I don't even know where that came from. Just teenage, you know, no brain kind of thing. I stopped the car, and we had to pick up all the trash, not just her trash, but all the trash. She was not happy with me.
I've done that on occasion as well, you know, where I've just stopped and thought, I can't just drive past that, man. I've got to just do something about it. You know what I mean? Because, you know, it's just, to me, see, a lot of people would just think you're in it. You're, you know, some sort of like weird little hippie boy or whatever.
Little hippie boy.
But I've never sort of thought that was a good idea. But maybe coming out of this situation, we might find that, you know, my prayer is that people sort of do sort of like find some, you know, enlightenment through it and start thinking about their environment. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Without it, what have we got? You know, we've got nothing. You know, it's like, you know, you can't keep taking money out of a bank account. You're going to be overdrawn at some point, man, and you're going to go bankrupt. And that's exactly what we've been doing with the environment and the climate.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, people can do the climate denying and it's all a hoax and this, that, and the other. But man, you can't deny that the weather systems are all over the place. And, you know, I think that's just, there's that sort of denying kind of like, I don't know, you know, it makes people feel better if they can go, oh, well, it's not scientific, because they can justify their behavior by going and sort of like setting a shale gas company up. Do you know what I mean? And doing whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
as I say, you know, we're smart beings at the same time. You know, you've got like human beings have got extreme ignorance, but you've got extreme intelligence as well. And if we could just dig more into the intelligence sort of side of things and sort of think, well, actually, you know, we need to maybe think about new energy sources. Do you know what I'm saying? Without, you know what, you know, if we could stop thinking profit all the time, then we would possibly have a future. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't want to sort of do a bleak picture here, but if we don't get our shit together, we don't have a future here, man. I'm serious. You know
I agree with you 100%. Like, I feel the same way. But Donna Sue and I think we're kind of, and I'm not saying we're unique in that. There's actually a lot of people willing to do something. You know, there's a lot of people willing to back off. But I'll tell you, was it yesterday? It was Sunday. No, hold on, Sunday. I drove over the bridge, going into Anne Arundel County, so in Maryland. I was going to just outside Baltimore, and there were so many boats back on the water.
Right.
I was amazed. Like, they were bumper to bumper. I bet there were plenty of accidents yesterday. I hadn't looked at the boating report from the DNR, but I can't even imagine. And we're all out of practice, and you know what I'm saying?
I do.
So I was just like, I was kind of just I was glad to see the really beautiful boats, but at the same time, I was like, oh, there goes the pretty water. You know, that was pretty.
Yeah, that is the thing, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, it's that classic balance, isn't it? Really, of balance. But I've got a friend down in Texas. Actually, she's an amazing woman. She's. Do you remember a band in the '60s called the Zombies? They had like quite a few hits.
Oh yeah, I know that. I know that.
Yeah,
Cool.
she
Yeah.
she does the fan. She's the fan club kind of mistress, if you like, for them. But she's just really cool, and we're sort of Facebook friends. But she put a post up tonight actually, and she was saying she was really sad by the way people are sort of reacting to the lockdown and being really sort of like the aggression and the sort of the the aggression and paranoia and fear thing has really bubbled over to the point where she said there's been quite a few accidents on the roads because people are going crazy. They're shouting at sales assistants, and that's another thing I don't get. You know, these people are on the front line. They're trying to do you a favor, and you're screaming at them. Do you know what I mean? It's a shocker.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was just thinking that, you know, if people aren't careful, they're going to spin out, man. Like mentally spin out.
Oh yeah, I trust. Even I have been a little bit. When we first, you can ask Donna Sue. When we first went, I'm pointing like right there on the screen. Donna Sue.
Over there.
Who was the biggest prepper ever? Whenever we all figured it, I'm like, okay, we gotta take. No, but I mean, I got psycho about it. Remember, I was like, look, don't even breathe right now. Don't come in my yard, Donna Sue. Not right now. I don't know what you picked up. Just
look. I was doing prepping. I was majorly. I was like, okay, we're going to grow our own food. We got to figure out water. Like I was like, you know, going.
Yeah.
I was you, but she was.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing, though. Do you know what I mean? I think that, you know, being prepared is that's what you want to be.
But we
you
didn't.
You want to be prepared for every eventuality, right? So, if you know, I'm not saying that you go ballistic like we talked about toilet paper and all this malarkey. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of people did get really scared, man. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
prepping is a good thing if it's not to the point where it's just like, you know, I've got so much ammunition I could take a country out. Do you know what I mean? But
I have all the toilet paper in the world, and actually, I don't really even think we need toilet paper now. Because I think you could use that thing that now you can buy on Amazon. It's the insert, the boudoir insert. You know, that's so cool.
Okay.
Oh,
I'll just go out in the garden and grab some bush, man. Do you know what I mean? That's not for me.
I haven't gotten that far.
So what about I dropped she and I were on because we didn't buy it. So I'm a prepper anyway, so I always have a lot of things on hand.
Sure.
Well, one thing I coincidentally did not have was toilet paper. So we were like, we made a pact. If one of us found toilet paper, I done some crazy stuff. I thought I had the hook up because I bought plastic restaurant gloves. I was like, okay, look, you can't get rubber gloves, right? But we can get restaurant gloves. Let's about it. I have all kinds of restaurant gloves.
So have you guys been missing? What have you missed the most out of kind of like being in lockdown? You know, like what's been the one for you that you think, oh, you know, I'd really love to do X. I said X, not sex, by the way.
Listening.
I don't know if you've been doing that anyway throughout lockdown. I don't know what.
MJ?
Being at the listening room and having people come through. Yeah, I think that, you know, we really like our, you know, singer-songwriters, and, you know, Donna Stu had some really good people coming through lined up. Before I was in business with Donna Stu, I was a patron, and I really enjoyed it. And it was just such a great concept for the area we live in. And it's the only thing like it here. So it was very enjoyable. And so that was disappointing, you know, that we weren't going to get to see this kind of entertainment, you know, because I was geared up and so was she. We were both geared up. And then we also had venues in other places. And we also were, you know, we do multiple things, and we were going to start booking entertainment at the Columbia Music Arena, also in Southern Ohio, and that's just a beautiful venue as well.
Okay.
And we were really looking forward to getting some talent in there and being able to enjoy the arena. It's a historic location, and these are all the things that it was just, and believe it or not, yeah, it's nice to have money, it's nice to pay bills and all that, but it was the experience that I'm disappointed that we didn't get to do. Like, I haven't even thought about it. It was the excitement, around watching the show and listening to the entertainers. I don't even think about the money, and I do when I'm like paying for stuff that we need to pay for to keep our business going.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, but when I just genuinely, when it out of my heart, it's all the excitement went. What I was like, oh.
Yeah,
So
right.
that would probably be mine. Donna Sue is probably her. I'm gonna guess it was not being able to go to the strip clubs. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's it.
Her face was like,
Now I'm with you about having the singer songwriters and doing the listening room and the changes that we were going to do this year with those folks, but also the excitement of booking the artists that we were working with and the excitement of getting them into the place where we want them to be and working with the venues. And so lately it's been interesting because up north nobody is doing anything yet. But down south, I've talked to quite a few people, and they're like, yeah, we're going to do this, this, and this. And so they're kind of like open to the idea of let's start getting things moving for later, not like obviously right now, but more at the end of June and July, which I was worried that things wouldn't even happen until September. So to see them happening maybe at the end of June and going into July is very exciting. And since artists are our babies, we want to make sure that you guys are okay. So,
oh my God, that's so gorgeous. I love that. Yeah, I see a lot of kind of people starting to book for July. So I guess they know something that we don't. So yeah, I think that.
I think they're like we are.
Seriously though, those first gigs of any band are going to be magnetic, aren't they? Because the enthusiasm to want to get out and do your thing is just going to be full ball, and that's the beauty of when you've not had something or you had something taken away that suddenly you appreciate it again. Just going for a coffee, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you go, imagine that first coffee you rock in, and it's a beautiful Italian coffee. You've got like a croissant or something sort of, that you normally, you know what I'm saying? And it's just that croissant is gonna taste amazing, and that coffee, that first coffee that goes,
it's gonna be really good.
It's just gonna blow your mind. And that's that's a beautiful thing, that all those things that you kind of took for granted are now going to be magical. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's true.
With that said,
and I'm hoping that sort of like, yes, we've been on pause for a couple of months, but hopefully it's a tricky one, but hopefully sort of like people will bounce back and the economy will kick back into gear, and it will balance itself out eventually. I
hope so.
But I think the
but with people treading lightly.
Yeah, exactly. But it's this second wave thing that people are worried about, I think, over here at the moment, that it comes back and kicks the shit out of us just that bit harder.
And I think it's going to. I think it's going to. I'm not doubting it. Like
but did you see them in Beijing yesterday? They all went to Disneyland, man, and like singing MICKEY MOUSE. Do you know what I mean? And all the kind of, it was quite funny, man. Do you know what I mean? I don't know whether they would. It was a big, camera opportunity, but they were all getting these families into. Go on, get in there and enjoy yourself. There's a freebie. There's no second wave. Shut up and get in there and party.
I would like to say something. While we're on the subject of getting back and enjoying things, one of the things, as we have you on here, one of the things that I particularly like most about your music and your character is your undying positivity, and you're so optimistic. So and one of those things I wanted to ask you, we have a video in queue of yours, and I just wanted to ask a question about this video. When was this video actually shot?
That's a good question, actually.
That's a good question. I don't know.
It would have been November last year. I've got an amazing film producer in New York called Brendan McGowan, and he did Night Stepper. These are all tracks off the New Kind of Normal album. We did Night Stepper, and he did a Heart Shaped Pill in New York. He also did Diamonds down in Atlanta. And I was just, I was kind of interested in kind of shooting stuff in America, and so yeah, we shot. He came back to New York, and we came up with the idea of Rocksteady. And I sort of had this idea of, I don't know if you ever remember a movie called The American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Great movie. And I just thought, what if that American werewolf comes back to New York? You know what I mean? And he means business. He wants to clean the city up. But his girlfriend doesn't get why he never comes home at night. You know what I mean? So she doesn't understand what's
He's
going on.
not just a player. He's out there cleaning up the streets.
He's a vigilante werewolf, man. He's rock steady in what he does, and he just he wants to clean the world up. New York today, man. Tomorrow, DC. Who knows?
So I'd like to bring that back too. So a lot of your music, like we've been talking for the first part, we've been talking about how your views on the world and how things have been going. Your themes and these belief systems that you've even mentioned, you kind of can see that thing throughout all your music. I've noticed, like, the positive messages, what we can do for ourselves, the world around us, so I did want to bring that up. You're working right now on a song about the heroes.
I am, yeah. It's a song for the key workers called Stand Up for the Heroes. I just felt like I wanted to write something that, honored the sacrifice that those guys, the new front line of this, particularly over here where we've had some severe losses in our health infrastructure. We've had 100 care workers, doctors, nurses that have actually died. And there's no greater sacrifice for that. So I just felt, I just felt it was important for me to try and document it. And so yeah, that track's kind of it's different to what I'd normally do because it's pulled back sort of. That was what I played. You was pulled back for me, man. Do you know what I mean? But you was, you wanted it pulled back even more, which is cool. So yeah, it was just literally strings, a vocal, and piano. Normally, it's all full ball guitars and drums and this, that, and the other for me. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of do something that really focused on the lyric, So Stand Up for the Heroes. It's actually available on Bandcamp, and I'm going to give the proceeds to people that are still in the front line. If we raise some good capital, do you know what I mean? I'll be able to, we have problems over here with PPE and like you did, do you know what I mean? But I just think, as I say, if we can raise some more money for those guys, that's cool. And it just tells a story. We've got a film in production, which will just be a montage and a story, not just of our key workers, but your key workers as well. The bin men, the people that came to pick your refuge up, the people that were in those supermarkets, fearless, still selling you food, making sure you've got food.
Yeah.
All those dudes, the doctors, the nurses, the care assistants, the hospital porters, the delivery drivers, all those dudes are the new rock and roll stars. Do you know what I'm saying?
Delivery boy, man.
Yeah, but he is though.
Yeah, he is.
This is where my thinking's always been like that anyway. But
yes, me too.
I just think if you get a pizza delivered, man, that's you want to be doing that, man. Like, thank you so much. You know what I mean? Because you know, it's brave. You know, it's a brave thing to do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people just kind of went, man, I'm staying home. I ain't doing nothing. I'm not going anywhere. You know, I'm gonna wear a big old chemical suit and I'm not gonna go to bed in it. I go to bed with my wife in my chemical suit. They got that kind of tripped out about it. But these guys are on the front line, man, doing that vibe. And so yeah, Stand Up for the Heroes is a tribute to those guys, and I feel that, you know, every period of time needs a song that sums up the situation, and I think that song does it really well. And you know, I've got some press happening on it. I've got some, you know, some reviews and bits and pieces. But you know what? It wasn't really about the production either, to be honest with you, because you know, I did that whole track was done in my studio. Now I would normally only do pre-production here, and then I'd go to my studio that I'd normally finish it off in. And but I just felt, you know what, I'm just gonna bust it from here, and just, if people dig it, they dig it. If they don't, they don't. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. And yeah, so it's out. It's out now. There's no messing about. It's out. It's doing its thing. And I really like this. That, you know, like, you know, John Lennon was a hero of mine. You know, and he used to say, you know, if you can get you know, to like records becoming like newspapers, where you can just you write it, you record it, and you bang it out, and it says something for that moment in time. And that's a good thing, because you know, sometimes making tracks can take forever, and by the time you finished it, you kind of don't want to hear it again. You know what I'm saying? You know, because you put so much time and effort into it. But I think working quick sometimes is kind of cool, because you still, it's so fresh, and you just go boom. I mean, I've definitely got like that thought of like, oh, you know, everything's got to be absolutely perfect before I put it out. But like with this, I just felt, you know what, if I can just get an honest recording, not that the stuff I don't do is honest, but we tend to spend a lot of time on production. You know what I'm saying? And actually now I'm starting to think, actually, you know, maybe it's not really about production. Maybe it's just about getting the vibe. So yeah, you know, that's taught me a little bit. In fact, actually, MJ, you kind of inspired me today to come back into that track and strip it back even more, and take the layers off it, and get it, you know, just back to a piano and a vocal, and that was good, because I think that doing that process, it kind of made me feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm so used to sort of hiding behind stuff, drums and loud guitars and whatnot. But doing that was basically sort of a real process of actually going, let's just see where we can go with this. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man. You know, so it is what it is, and I'll strip that mix back, and we'll put that out as well. And if people like the kind of the nakedness of it, then they can chew it up.
You know, one thing we can do is, once you do that, we can put a couple of versions, and we'll put it up on the holler, so people watching, if you want to come back and we'll finish with that, we can put up a couple of versions so you can enjoy it as well. So right now, what I want to go ahead and do, I want to segue into your video here. Oh, I thought I had it up. There we go. I'm going to put it in full screen. This is Rock Steady by Dar Ra. And here we go.
Oh, man. Okay. All right.
That was awesome.
Hey, how you doing? Are we back? Oh, hello.
That
Hey.
was great.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know if the sound came over all right or not. Do you know what I mean? But look, I tell you what, I've just had some good news. I've just the video for Stand Up for the Heroes has just come through. I was watching it just literally as you were playing that. I think it's going to be really good. Man. I'll get it up either tomorrow. Well, get it up tomorrow. So yeah, man, that's looking powerful. It's the story that I wanted. So yeah, it's really good. It's really honouring where we're at. You know what I mean? Where we're at. So yeah, that's going to be exciting. So you guys will see it first. How's that?
Yeah, I'll cue it up on here live.
Yeah,
Awesome. That's awesome.
You know that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that sounded, man. Rocksteady, did it sound all right? I don't know.
I enjoyed it.
No, it's a killer tune, man. It's a killer tune, but you need that sound to come punching through, man, to make it kind of happen.
You know, I think one thing while we got on here, I would like to talk about, because rock step is actually something a lot of Americans are not familiar with. Would you address rock step? Like, talk about a little bit about that and explain your part in rock step.
So, well, rock step was invented by me. I came up with this idea of kind of rock step because we were kind of mixing rock and roll guitars and you know the sort of rock kind of setup, but we were really into our dance music as well. So it was a mixture. It was bringing together sort of EDM and rock and roll, and then we just thought we'd call it. I thought rock step would be a really cool kind of name to call it. So that's all that is, really, just coming up with new ideas, new genres that people haven't heard about before. Like we've got another thing called Gothic Soul, which is
Oh, now that's interesting.
yeah, which is like, have you heard the track Lights yet?
Say that one more time.
It's a track called The Lights. It's on the album, but there's it's
Lights. Yes. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's what. So we're calling that kind of tip. And whiskey and honey's got that kind of gothic.
I really enjoy whiskey and honey. Like I like that one.
It's a good cure for everything, man. Whiskey and honey. Let me tell you that. But yeah, so I just call things different things, man, and then the press pick up on it, and it's like something.
Yeah, I didn't realize that you're the one that came up with that.
Yeah. So but somebody might go, no, you didn't. I came up with that 25 years ago. I've got the patent on that. And, I'll be going to, whatever, sort of trying to. But hey, and I'm not, I ain't going to contest it. It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, if you ask Harvey Summers, who kind of co-produced and you kind of normal with me, he'll tell you that I was in the studio going, man, we just call this thing rock step, you know what I mean? Because I've never heard that word before. And Gothic Soul I've not heard either. So yeah, we're just pumping out. I don't know what we're going to be doing next, It's just mixing and merging stuff to kind of make something kind of new and just the kind of the boredom up a little bit of kind of dead set kind of situations that, you know what I mean? I get bored real easy.
It's fun actually it's fun to explore explore new concepts, because you may come up with a concept that just blows everybody out of the water and change it. I'm kind of sick of all this old stuff, the same old stuff. Right now, because of this pandemic, a lot of people are getting back into singer songwriter. Like, it was singer songwriter was dead, was
Yeah.
almost dead, and now everybody's like, wait a minute, that was the good shit.
Yeah.
What did we do?
Yeah.
Why did we almost kill that?
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's horses for courses. It's whatever you're feeling. It's whatever you kind of want to tune into, and that's the beautiful thing about the wide landscape of music. It's like it's there to kind of like take you on a journey and for you to kind of like channel your emotion through. So if you're feeling like angry and like you want some dirty ass rock and roll, you know what I'm saying? That's going to express your emotion. Do you know what I'm saying? Like for instance, like the neighbours seem to have gone mad since we've been in lockdown, and they've just got, because we're obviously in the country, but they've got tractors, but they haven't got farms. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they've got their tractors out doing pretty much nothing with them, just running around like trying to mow their garden with these tractors, and it's just you try and record. Like I was trying to record like that vocal that you're listening to on Stand Up for the Heroes, and I've got like this guy literally just chainsawing like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I'm just looking out the window going, when are you going to stop? This has been going on for 4 weeks, dude. Yeah. So yeah, everyone seems to have really kind of gone mad around here with their chainsaws, and just all of a sudden they want to build an extension to their whatever. Do you know what I mean? So it's been kind of a crazy old period of time. Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's amazing. It is amazing that I actually managed to record that track here, really, because it was just been crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I've got chickens out the back there, man, and they would like go. They were even looking at him, going, "What are you doing? It's just what are you doing? Chopping trees down that don't need to be chopped down. It's just crazy shit because we're bored." Do you know what I mean? Just stop it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm pleased with the way that's come out, considering the sort of the vibe that we sort of like had to endure. But yeah, it's cool, man. And so yeah, genres, man, are all about basically busting wide open and creating something new that's kind of half interesting. I've got a new remix that's just come through from an amazing producer I was telling you earlier about, from Sri Lanka, called Vidula.
Yeah.
Amazing guy. He did the remix on Lights, the Dark Knight remix, which is filth, man, filth remix. And he's just done this, the beat thing is just, oh my god, he's just done this Bangra vibe on it, man. So we got Bangra rock. You know what I'm saying? Bangra is like this Indian bangaranga dangaranga dangaranga, crazy ass like Slumdog Millionaire. You know the dude that did Slumdog Millionaire? It sounds like A.R. Rahman, who did the soundtrack for Slumdog, but you've got this kind of guitar shit going on it. So you've got Bangra rock, which is, I don't think that's been done either. So another thing I've just come up with, Bangra rock. I'm on it, mate. I'm on it.
We lost number 2.
I don't know what happened.
Did you kick her off?
I didn't do anything, man. I'm innocent. Look at these eyes. Innocent.
She asked a question. Ask him when he's coming to America.
Coming to America. Well, when this whole crazy deal is done, do you know what I mean? I mean, MJ and myself were talking about maybe doing an acoustic tour with the book. Selling the sort of come out there and sort of read some extracts from my books, because I've got 2 books out, and then play some of the songs that you're hearing just as an acoustic kind of vibe, and see if we can make some friends, and cheer some people up. What were we going to call it? The reach out and love tour or something. I think reach out and love to just see if we can bring some people back together again. You know, repair some broken hearts. You know.
I have to ask a question. I have to ask one, and this is kind of jumping subjects. John Schofield. How did you come to know John?
That's a really, really interesting conversation and question. First of all, I absolutely loved John, and I loved Kim as well. They were just,
that just blows my mind.
You know, they were amazing people, man. And I was so privileged to meet John. And I think that he sort of was somebody recommended me because they were doing this film, The City of Hope, which was an amazing concept. And he got in contact with me through, I think it was LinkedIn. And he said, "Oh, you know, I heard that you could, you know, you da 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 da. And I've listened to a few things. Would you be interested in talking to us about doing a song?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, man. Do you know what I mean?" And then we had like I think we did a sort of Skype. And we were going back now. We're talking like 2011, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been a while.
And I just really loved him. I thought he was the coolest guy ever. You know, he was like, you know, him and Kim, when we were having these conversations, they'd be sort of having this little kind of argument. He'd be like, "Get your dogs off my lawn," you know, and all this kind of thing. "Get your tanks off my lawn." Yeah. And I'd just be fascinated just listening to. He sounded like John Wayne, or sort of like one of these characters, basically out of sort of an old kind of like, you know, American classic movie. But he had a real appreciation for music, you know, a real, you know, and so encouraging. Huh?
He's the kind of person that can find something beautiful in everything.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't. He was so encouraging to me. Like, I don't know, it was almost like having a father again for a bit. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. He never missed my birthday.
Sorry?
He never missed my birthday. He never missed telling me happy birthday.
He was just, yeah, he had a real beautiful soul about him. And obviously, you know, the concept of the City of Hope thing with the couple of American teachers going down and setting a school up in Brazil and getting these kids out of the favelas, you know, and they were having some amazing results, actually getting these kids from the favelas into situations where they were now going back into the favelas and inspiring them to become lawyers and accountants, and you know, because they'd had these educations. So they were giving the City of Hope. That's what it was, you know what I'm saying? And so I was honored to be asked to write that song, The City of Hope, for the film. And they were just so appreciative when I, you know, when I delivered that, because I'm always a bit of an over deliverer. Do you know what I mean? I like to deliver more than I've been asked for, you know, to keep a smile on your face and all that. So he asked me for one track, and I think I gave him 3. I think.
Yeah, that's why I thought you did the entire soundtrack.
Yeah, so I did 3 songs for him, which was.
Oh, he told me you did the entire soundtrack.
Yeah, you know, and it was funny because I didn't record that I recorded it in the studio. I don't know, about 20 miles from here, 20, 30 miles away from here. So it was a bit of a schlep, and it was a really bad winter. I think it was 2012 I ended up doing it. And we had a really bad winter, and I was sort of having to get up to this studio, and it was snowing and it was cold, and there was a real vibe to actually just even get there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Woods, and temperature had dropped like to about 20 below. It was a mad sort of time trying to record that. And then Jo, my partner, she convinced me to go and buy a horse. Yeah, I know, crazy. And this horse is, I mean, he's a beautiful boy. He's a Clydesdale cross. Anyway, you know, I'd ridden when I'd been out on tour. You know, I'd never thought, you know, I thought you had to be elite to own a horse. Do you know what I mean? So I was learning a lot on the, you know, just, I'd only had him about a month, do you know what I mean? And I did this stupid thing. I was going up to the studio, and I went up to feed them, and it'd been snowing. So I'd thrown out a load of hay, and I walked behind this horse stupidly, and he thought there was another horse coming in, and Morgan, this horse, kicked me right in my leg. Luckily, it didn't get my knee. It was above my leg. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
He kicked me so hard, I was limping like you wouldn't believe. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh.
Poor thing.
And yeah. And I'm sort of So then it's freezing, snowing, and now I've got a limp like some old general, and I'm kind of limping up to the studio. And I remember doing the guitars for that track, right? And I was like standing like on one leg trying to play the guitar with this other leg that was just bruised like right down to the kneecap, and I'm trying to play these guitar riffs and get it kind of all sounding all right. Do you know what I mean? And the studio's heating system broke down, so it was just freezing, and it was just one of them projects that just seemed to be a real tester. Do you know what I mean? To bring in, but hey ho, you know, we did it, and I brought it in, and they were chuffed, man. Do you know what I'm saying? And yeah, so, and it was a beautiful thing to sort of see them, and then they got that project together. They started, I think, with the soundtrack, and they had some footage that they'd shot down in Brazil, and I think they got more funding for it as well from them. And you know, and I thought it was a really cool thing that happened. And you know, it was just so sad what happened in the end with both of them sort of passing on really far too quick for my life.
And it was so close to. I mean, I say close, but you know what I mean. It was just. I mean, it was close, but you get what I mean. It's just so.
It was you know, to lose John, you know, that was, well, I was just because you know, one minute we were talking, you know, chatting, and he was saying, you know, get your dogs off my lawn to Kim, and you know.
Oh, he's so.
And the next minute he passed on, and then I stayed in contact with Kim a little bit just to sort of, but I don't know, you know, that she obviously had her issues as well health wise, and then I just think I heard it might have been actually you, MJ, that told me that she'd passed on, and I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. So
I was very surprised. You know, she and I didn't talk much. My relationship was more so with John.
Sure.
My dad met John in the Virgin Islands, and I think it was St. Thomas, but he was staying down there and for a little bit. I don't know how long John was there, but that's where they met, and they just kind of befriended each other. And was just he liked Dad, which most people would like my dad when they met him.
Sure.
They enjoyed music together, and the rest was history. And he just he helped my dad find some stuff to send back to me from like they went I'm gonna say snorkeling, but they went and they were getting stuff like little shells and
fishing stuff. Yeah,
they just send junk back to me, and there was treasure in my mind, you know. That was
so you'd known John for quite a while then, yeah?
Since 94, no, longer than that, since 1989.
Oh wow.
1990. Yep. I was just for everybody to see John. Here's a picture of John. That's our John with his Good Morning America jacket on. But
you want people like that to live forever.
I know, and it's not fair. Like they're supposed to. They're supposed to be a fixture, you know, in your life, and at least that's what you want. And you know, the older you get, though, the more you realize you start those people that are here in your life, and they're so prominent, and they part before you're ready.
Yeah, exactly.
But they leave such an impression on you that you could never forget them. It's not like they're ever really gone. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
So I think about him almost every birthday, which is funny because I'm used to him saying happy birthday in some way or fashion. When I was a kid, he didn't say it so much, but when he was able to, as an adult, as I got my own phone number and all that, and I'd be like, I'd get a different number. Who was? Oh, okay, hi.
Yeah, what a character, and you know they're you know there's a sort of that's a generation that unfortunately in some ways, you know, they're not being replaced. That they were big characters, you know what I'm saying? And you know, it's a sad thing. And again, coming back to this kind of COVID thing, we've lost some giants, man. Absolute giants, you know what I mean?
It's like it went after the giants. It's like we're coming after the giants. It's like seemed like it did, huh?
Little Richard going, man, the other day. I just thought that was. I mean, you know, a lot of people would sort of go, it's, inevitable sort of 89 years old, good run, this, that, and the other. But again, you want little Richard to be here forever.
Yeah.
Still doing, you know, his little good golly Miss Molly routine. And,
All right.
you know what I'm saying? You know, and yeah, so you know, we lost a cat from the Stranglers, a big punk band. Their keyboard player passed. Kraftwerk, there was another cat from Kraftwerk that went. Millie Small, the ska singer, you know, she went. So yeah, I mean, I could go on and on and on. You know, I mean, but yeah, we've lost a fair few kind of dudes, and I think the obituary this year will be quite insane. Like, I mean, I remember when Prince went. That year was crazy. 2016, I think, when we lost Bowie, we lost Prince, we lost. You know, there was a whole stream of dudes that just decided that was it, game over. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe Prince. I couldn't believe Bowie. I couldn't believe Prince. That blew me away. I was just like, somebody phoned me and said, "Oh man, you better sit down." I was like, "Why?" Prince is gone. I was like, "No, come on, don't joke like that, man." Do you know what I mean? Because Prince was big for me. He was like, you know, I've got a couple of go-to people when I'm feeling low that I go to. You know, Lennon would be is one of them, and Prince would be another. You know, and when he went again, I just thought Prince was eternal.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I mean?
I think everybody. I can't think of too many people that didn't like him. And even if they would watch him, they go, "Oh," they'd be like, "Well, but he can do that." They'd settle into it.
Again, people like that aren't. They're not. Who's replaced Prince? Do you know who could replace Prince? No one. There's a, you know, that kind of caliber of kind of entertainer is a thing of the past. You know what I'm saying? And sure enough, you know, there's a lot of cool cats out there, but those big characters just aren't around, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's not. It was a period of time we were very lucky as kids to grow up with Prince and MJ, Michael Jackson banging out those, you know, and to be a kid in the sort of the 80s, whatever, we were very lucky.
I really like. I look at it and I'm like, man, you can't, before cell phones, you can't get that experience back. Me and a friend of mine were talking not too long ago. I'm going to say about a year or so ago, and he wanted to replicate standing in ticket lines. He wanted everyone to come to a show, and if they wanted to buy a ticket, they needed to stand outside and do it like we used to do it. You know, stand in line and buy a ticket, because that camaraderie of meeting other fans, it was lost because you just go on a ticket. But it didn't go. It went over like what they say, like a fat kid on a seesaw. It didn't go well. These kids are like, "What do you mean stand outside?"
Yeah, exactly. It's
stand outside for tickets. I don't get it.
You know, look, there's pluses and there's negs. You know, technology is amazing. The fact that we can have this interview, we can, you know what I'm saying?
It's like us being able
I think we were lucky because we've got the sort of we had the best of both worlds, you know. You know, to see Nirvana, for instance, you know what I mean? Like those sort of things, you know, hearing Black Hole Sun when that came out, all those kind of experiences where you just go, we were really lucky. I mean, obviously coming of age in the 90s as well was like, you know, the 90s was insane. You know what I mean? In terms of sort of, you know, being 20 in the 90s, man, it was awesome. You know what I'm saying? We're really, again, I'm really glad that I had that period of time because over here in England, we had this whole rave culture thing going on. So there was this big, massive kind of like EDM, but real cool EDM, the very start of EDM, the fresh EDM that was coming through, you know, and that's how I got signed to Chrysalis EMI by, you know, we were making more paradise garage house that we were, you know, the gospel vocals, Philly strings, house grooves, that kind of tip, you know, and it was exciting. It was a really exciting period of time, you know what I mean? And, there was this real camaraderie amongst the youth of the country that, you know, we could really change the world. And, you know, maybe naive, but it was good to live through. It was great to go out to those warehouse jams down in East London and be partying with 3,000 other kids.
Well, you guys were having such a good time that we were over here trying to copy your fashion.
Yeah, well, we were lucky, man. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, England's not bad for sort of like, you know, creating things, and that was a great period of time. There was no two ways about it.
I got my smoky
I
eye.
could, I could feel things changing. I mean, I moved out to Australia halfway through that. Well, I didn't. I had a record out with 21st Century Records, and I went down to sort of, you know, because there was a bit of a buzz on it down there, and then ended up staying sort of 2.5 years working out there for
Where
Festival Records and
where
BMG in Sydney, Australia.
okay.
So yeah, I was having a lot of fun. Again, Sydney was just Sydney in the 90s. You know, we kind of owned it. We just owned it. We just totally took over and just ran. You know, we were front cover of magazines. We were in the sort of their Sydney Morning Herald, which is, you know,
That's
USA Today. You know, really had it large. We were making money. You know, I mean, you know, we were getting $2,000 a mix. You know, so
good.
it was good money. You know, and you know, being sort of 24, 25 or whatever, you know, with that sort of money in your back pocket, we were running around town like we absolutely owned it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And a couple of English kids just causing trouble, man, just having fun. And as I say, you know,
Very good children.
I mean, there's a track called Super Hyper Real, which is, you should dig it out, man. There's a video of us basically playing in Sydney, and yeah, it's real. It's got that whole real happy 90s rock and roll kind of vibe about it. You know, good times, man. So yeah, but now, you know, again, we sort of grew up again. We saw the internet do its thing, right? You know, I mean, like having emails in sort of 1998 or 1999, having the original I mean, I've still got my Hotmail address. It's just no numbers. It's just my address, right? Have you got?
I have a Hotmail, but it's strange enough. I had a friend who started mail.com, and
All right.
I got an email there, and my email was MJ at the number 2, the word die, the number 4.com. And I still have that to this day.
Wow, it's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, again, sort of watching the internet kind of grow from, you know, Napster smashing the crap out of the industry, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that was a shocker. Do you know what I'm saying? And then sort of seeing how YouTube kind of grew, and like YouTube was like, I always, you know, it was just like the Wild West, wasn't it? It was just, you know, you could see anything you wanted to on YouTube at one stage of the game. Do you know what I mean? It was the internet was like a really sort of just uncensored, sometimes hardcore.
Completely.
You know what I mean? And I think,
oh, what are you doing with all my music? Oh no. But
you know what I mean? Yeah.
How long it would take to load a song that you wanted to listen to? Whew, that was living, but it was worth it.
Yeah, totally. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just been, I mean, the 20 years of from 2000 to now has just absolutely zoomed by. You know what I mean? I mean, even just this year on see, I think lockdown's gone really quick. I mean, I've you know, I look back to March, and I just think, March, where did March go? Where's April gone? It's just like, where is the time going? It's May, man. Do you know what I mean? We're nearly halfway through the year, and we haven't even started yet. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's just been the weirdest year I've ever lived. I mean, I'm sure it is for everybody else, but
no, it is. Everybody.
I mean, if you think back to sort of, if somebody said to you sort of back in the 90s, man, there's going to be this virus thing, and you're all going to be locked away for months, and you might not even come out again. Do you know what I mean? And people are going to be going mad for like toilet paper. You'd be like, oh, dude, lay off the drugs already. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? You'd be like, do you know what I mean? You've been dropping, mate. You've been dropping tonight because you're really coming out of them. You would, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? And here we are in 2020, you know, all sort of like kind of tripped out about, you know, this vibe where, you know, Is it? Where has it come from? All the conspiracy theories are just, you know.
Yeah, those are fun. And how do anymore? You're trying to sort through all because you have to just kind of slowly, get out into the information, really, really look at where the information's coming from. It's just really hard. And I've just gotten to where, as an investigative, one of my areas as an investigative reporter, I've gotten to where I just go ahead and do it like I was doing a story myself now, because nobody substantiates anything anymore. Like they don't used to. When I was being trained in journalism, we were trained to get to substantiate everything we wrote about with a document. And if we could not get a document, it would have to be very plainly said that we could not find a document, but let's say the police chief said XYZ.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, this is what happened. Whether you need to say that the police chief said that. You need to say that. And so every time I talk about, like if I do bring up subjects on my personal Facebook, for example, which I know better every time, but I do it and I always suffer. I will talk about a subject and then everybody's, well, let me just show you, MJ. And they'll copy and paste a story that somebody out there they don't know wrote. And then I proved you, girl. And I'm like, do you know who that person is?
Yeah, right.
Do you know what their educational background and what are they pro this or that? People.
That's something I'd have to agree with you. I always thought journalism was supposed to be unbiased and
it's
neither left, huh?
Yeah, you're
right. You know what I'm saying? But now, you watch CNN and you just think, you keep putting your content on the situation, your own political beliefs on the situation. Whether you agree with Donald Trump or not, you know what I'm saying? You need to tell the news. You need to tell, sure enough, they tell the facts. But when you get the facts with their own political beliefs, even on ITV over here, which is like the second station to BBC, you've got a guy over here who does the 10 o'clock news. And you can tell he is putting his content by just the way he reads the news that, that
he's going with.
You sort of think, well, that's not journalism. For me, that's not journalism. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what you have a guest on for, isn't it? Because that's, you've got to be unbiased. Otherwise, you're just going to be. It's like we've got this other dude called Piers Morgan. I think he was on your side of the thing, images, and he's good in some ways because he does. I mean, none of the politicians want to go on his show at the moment because he's just ripping them a new arsehole, man. Do you know what I mean? He's coming at them full ball, and that in that respect, he's actually good because he's really at them. It's upsetting a lot of kind of right wingers over here, but I kind of think it's funny to do it. You know what I'm saying? To do that because they have made a cock up. Whether you're a right winger or a left winger, they've made a complete and utter mess of the whole situation. So I think they're fair game. Do you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I think you've got to be very careful about putting your content on the situation because you want people to be able to make their own minds up.
Yeah, I will. That's the thing. You gotta maintain. For one thing, you have to, as a journalist, you got to accept that you're fallible. Okay, first of all, and a lot of journalists get a God complex. So you have to accept that you're fallible first. Okay, but then you have to put everybody else that you're serving above yourself because what you tell them could shape history. Now that's a power in itself.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Get away with, and so you have to say, okay, yeah, I'm all up in my feelings. Yes, I'm getting a little egotistical, but I got to remember that I want these people to think for themselves. I'm fallible. I could be wrong. I could later on go down the road and find out the whole time I was wrong. And
yeah, you're only as good as your source. You're only as good as your sources, aren't you? Really, but
right. And so you want to to encourage people to think for themselves, and you want to, and something we have got away from in journalism is reminding people, okay, I'm a human, I'm fallible, I'm going to get you all the information that I can, but
Yeah, exactly.
fine, I'm human, and I'm just going to get what I can. I'll present it to you. You take that information and you decide. I can't tell you what to think. I can't. I mean, I can, but what benefit is that to either one of us if we're not all critically thinking?
Well, exactly. And I think, you know, like, I mean, I'm just going to be completely honest with you now. I don't think there's any journalists, and this isn't me being disrespectful, but there's not many political journalists that I would really trust any of their, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't trust anything any journalist says, because, you know, they're about as good as an estate agent, aren't they? That's trying to flog you a small bijou in the middle of London for £2 million.
I feel bad saying that, but you
and
know,
that's a sad thing to say, that you can't. Like, I would only watch. Everyone wants to swear. I only watch mainstream sort of TV to see what the narrative is. Do you know what I'm saying? Of like, what's the top tier saying, and what do they want you to kind of believe? Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't watch the news and go, oh, you know, that's verbatim, because I don't know where.
You
I don't know
hook, line,
where you get your source from. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that, you know, there's an agenda there's an agenda basically, and that's, again, this is where the fault, you know, I'll probably never get on Fox TV, you know, I'll probably never get on Fox and CNN after having this conversation. There's a real agenda on both sides, which I think is really, really not good. I mean, Fox need to be unbiased about what they're saying, because, you know, Fox have already got their Trump supporters. Do you know what I'm saying? So you're only preaching to the kind of converted. You're not going to expand your audience. Right. Whereas if you were talking, if you were just saying, listen, this guy is basically got this going on, and that was good, and that was not good, and and you just be completely honest about the situation rather than trying to sell a narrative, then I think you'd get more people tuning in, because they go, well, actually, we want to hear the truth. We don't want to hear some made up nonsense. But then I guess, you know, you've got to think that all newspapers and were always controlled by, you know, by the money makers, by the people who were, you know, who were taking favors from the political class and were selling a narrative down the road that the people would believe. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think most people, generation after generation, after, you know, when the printing word basically was brought into whatever in the 1600s, where basically, you know, once people basically were able to read, they were being manipulated. They were being manipulated from the word go to sort of go, right, these people are awful, we got to go and kill them. You know what I'm saying?
take them out.
You know what I'm saying? We've got to go to war with them, or we've got to do this, or we're going to, now it's time for an economic crash. So therefore we've all got to basically, you know, sell our wares for nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? It's all control, man. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, for instance, like that whole economic crash in 2008, for instance, do you know what I mean? That could have been avoided, could have been completely avoided if they'd just basically gone, not lie, but not over going, oh, we're facing an economic crash, we're going to die, we're going to do this, and everyone panicked, and all the people with a bit of money basically banked it and didn't spend any money, and everything contracted because everyone was running around with fear. You know, it caused more damage. I don't know what the media is trying to do. It's almost like they want to sort of shoot themselves dead at some point, where there's no sort of like the last viewer just goes, do you know what I mean? Because they're so panicked with fear. I mean, is that what they want to do? Is that what they want to do to people? Just, you know, I mean, I remember being out in America actually, and when was it? Actually, after 9/11, and I remember sort of switching on a TV in this hotel room, and just, it was, you know, war on terror. Next channel, war on terror, war on terror, terror on war, terror Terra t-shirts, pterodactyls. Everything, everything was just terror. And if people who aren't thinking out of the box are sitting there watching it, man, they must have been terrified. Terrified by the terror. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, yeah, you know, I don't really get it. I don't get why do people want to hear that stuff is the first question. Why do people want to sit there and go?
So there's a natural thing. Okay, so in a human, okay, so in the primal sense, there's always something going on. There's always a problem, right? And you always need to fix. And when you're in groups specifically, you need to fix your situations, your social situations, any drama. If someone gets hurt, or there's always some, back in the prehistoric times, somebody's always getting hurt. You gotta rush to figure it out. Go club a whatever the large animal of the week is that's trying to eat you.
Yeah, pterodactyl. We're on pterodactyl. Yeah, so, we got a message from the king of the tribe.
Yeah,
pterodactyls.
But you know, a lot of but the human, we flock to that, and so news. So we give a problem. So what the natural process is, there's a problem. The humans rush to the problem, right? We work to fix the problem, and then that gives us a resolution. And our brains start going back down. But here's the problem with news: we give you problems. No resolution. So your brain doesn't get to come back down from that cortisol, all that stuff that's being flashed in your face. We're not following up and saying, so the problem with news is we say problem, we don't say, okay, guys, we got a problem. So now we need to look at how we're going to fix it. And there was a time where some news sources they'd be like, okay, so how can our officials fix this? Do you have ideas? Write in and tell us about it. There used to be a time, but now it's fast, furious and first, and it doesn't matter if it don't even matter if they ever follow up again, as long as you tuned in. That's all that matters. They got what they needed from you, those ratings, and that's it. Just clicks and those numbers, and that's all they needed for you. Give you a resolution.
But I mean, it's like we got a station over here called Heart FM, and they just play. They've got like the same 5 records playing day in, day out. You know, and I'm sure you've got the same stations over there. And I just sort of think to myself, it's really weird. Like, one of their adverts is Heart FM, with the home of music, and I'm like,
the home of 5 hours.
That's the home. Yeah, exactly, the home of 5 records. And it's just so sort of like unlistenable to most people with a brain cell, that they would do much better if they opened up their channels and started doing, you know, similar things to what you're doing, just getting more interesting people on than the same old. Like, I mean, a lot of those celebs who were singing Imagine when we went into lockdown, they did themselves no favors. Because a lot of people just went, you sanctimonious load of old twats.
True. Hey, 1 second. I want to say we're half an hour over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go tell everybody good night. You and I will meet on the other side at backstage. And all right. So, do you have anything else you would like to say?
Just, you know, obviously, thank you so much, MJ, for having me on. Hopefully, we've discussed a few things and maybe opened up a few sort of thought channels. Obviously, Whiskey and Honey is out soon. We've got this Stand Up for the Heroes track, which is the Key Workers tribute song, which is available on Bandcamp. If you want to go to my Facebook page, that's facebook.com/qxyDeep, KUSHADEEP, qxyDeep. Then you'll find the link for the Bandcamp vibe. And we're trying to put some proceeds towards the key workers in the front lines. So yeah, just any support is all good. If you want to find out more, either come through MJ or you want to come through and just hit me up, man. I'll answer any questions I can. And just stay safe, man. And I've said this before, you know, in the press release, you know, stay try and stay well in your body, but try and stay really well in your mind, because that's what's going to count in the next few months.
Out if you can do that, right?
It's holistic, my friends, holistic.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dar Ra, for coming on. We appreciate you. Look forward to hearing more from you. Love to have you back on again sometime.
I'll come back real soon.
All right.
We're out.